Big breaking news coming in from the United States of America. Florida State University has issued an alert to students this Thursday saying an active shooter was reported in the area of the university's student union. There are visuals that you can see. The man that's been encircled in red is the man who is the shooter. An FSU alert says that the university's emergency notification and warning system was turned on, and the students were told to seek shelter and await further instructions. They were asked to lock themselves up, stay in safe areas. The area completely under lockdown is what some media reports are saying, but you can see visuals over there of the cops having arrived in the scene. The alert said police were now are on the scene, and there are some reports that suggest that 4 victims have been hospitalized amid this active shooter situation. Trimil Gomes, who is a journalist in Florida, joins me for more on this. Trimil, thank you so much for joining us. This is an active situation. What's happening on the ground? Has the man been apprehended?
Thanks for having me. Things are so uncertain, but what I've done, I actually arrived on campus. I'm standing on the campus right now, and as you can see behind me, fire trucks are here, and above me are helicopters circling and still searching to find out and contain the situation. It's all unfolding in real time. There's a lot of information that's coming out. I'm getting text messages from people who are just now being alerted of the situation. I have people and colleagues that are on campus who are saying they're getting messages that the lockdown is still in place. Just got another message to stay locked down. So the school is entirely locked down. I'm in the parking lot here, cars there. It's practically like a ghost town. So people are sheltering in place. What I'm seeing online are, as you mentioned, possible shooting victims, and it's all coming in real time, and we're trying to get as much information as possible. But that's the scene right here. It's very quiet here in the parking lot. Authorities are here to assess the situation. Helicopters are circling the campus, and that's what we have so far.
Right. Trimil, we can see the visuals. The visuals are rather scary. There are a lot of people who've gathered, but a lot of them looking at and seeking answers, making calls, frantic calls, so to say. A lot of students there, Trimil. So worried parents must be frantically calling their kids just to find out whether they're safe or not.
Very much so. Parents, from what I'm seeing online, people are trying to get access or get in touch with their loved ones to see if they're okay. People are trying to get away from campus. From some of the videos you've probably seen online, some of the students left their laptops, their blankets, their book bags. They just left them where they are, and they scrambled to safety around the Union, which is not too far from where I am. I'm around the stadium area. This campus is known for its massive football games, and people come out here, and the camaraderie with the students. As you can see, more police is coming towards the campus. They're heading in that direction. Helicopters are above me, and people are just concerned and wondering what's going on, and hoping for safety and hoping the situation is contained and no one else will get hurt. Sadly, we've heard of a few that have been injured during this incident.
Trimil, I hope you're in a safe area, but like you're now just saying and explaining and describing the situation to us, it does seem like the situation is not completely under control. There were reports earlier that the man was apprehended. Is there a confirmation? What are the authorities, the cops telling you?
I don't have any confirmation just yet. Things are fast moving, and I wanted to be in a safe place. Thank you for that. I'm in a safe place. I'm here in the parking lot on the edge of campus, just so you can see what things are like here. But of course, the campus is still locked down, and people are unaware or unable to move because they want to make sure the situation is fully contained before releasing and getting everyone to move again. So it's an active situation. We're not sure. Information is probably moving as we speak. week, and I'm trying to look to see the latest of what's being shared online from reputable sources, of course, so I can report back, and I should be able to have an update shortly.
Trimble, keep those lines open. We'll come back to you as and when you have more details. But for now, this is an active situation. Stay safe. The visuals clearly show a lot of panicked students waiting to hear from authorities as to what's really happening on the ground. This is a situation that's unfolding in the Student Union area of the Florida State University. Details will be updated here on the India Today network. For now, Trimble Gomes, thank you so much for joining us. Shifting focus to the Harvard versus Trump war. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has announced that Harvard University would lose its ability to enroll foreign students if it did not meet the Trump administration's demands to share information on some visa holders. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said she wrote a letter to the university demanding records on what she called the illegal and violent activities of Harvard's foreign student visa holders by the 30th of April. In response, America's oldest and richest university said it was aware of Noem's letter and that the university stood by its statement earlier in the week to not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights, while saying it would comply with law.
On Wednesday, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced the cancellation of 2 DHS grants totaling over $2.7 million to Harvard University on top of the punitive freezing of federal grants of more than $2 billion. Media reports suggest that the U.S. Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, is making plans to rescind the tax-exempt status of Harvard University, and a final decision is expected soon. This comes a day after the US President Donald Trump threatened to strip the university of its tax-exempt status and said Harvard should apologize. Because among all universities, Harvard is the only one so far to reject what it called unlawful demands to overhaul academic programs or lose federal grants. Its students' community is proud of the university's stance against adversity.
All students here are incredibly proud right now that Harvard is standing up for academic integrity, that it's standing up for free speech, and we just hope that Harvard is gonna continue to stand up against any pressure from the Trump administration.
The president of Harvard's decision to, not obey by the Trump's administration attacks on the university is pretty courageous, and I fully support it. I think it's important as a community here to, gather and face this all together. And I think this is an attack on academic freedom, and I think it's a threat to democracy.
Beginning with Columbia University, the Trump administration has rebuked universities across the country over their handling of the pro-Palestinian student protest movement that roiled campuses last year in the aftermath of Israeli attacks on Gaza after 2023 Hamas-led attack. Several universities lost federal grants of billions in the past few months since Trump came back to power, though none other than Harvard University stood up to the administration.
I definitely hope that Harvard is going to use some of its endowment to, support continued financial aid for students, some of the critical research in, cancer research, medical research, and innovation that is happening at this place. But it is definitely going to be felt all over campus, and we'll have to see, exactly what is going to be cut, and if professors are going to have to be fired, or they're going to be able to admit less students. We simply don't know at this point, but I feel a lot of confidence in Harvard to make good decisions on this.
It has become that our rights in America have come under attack. I just keep thinking about how the demands that have been made of all of these universities in the Northeast and across the country really are specifically targeting the right to speech, assembly, press, and due process. And I think it worries me that not that people aren't paying attention, but that we're so overwhelmed and inundated with all of these things that keep happening.
On 14th April, Harvard President Alan Garber in a letter said that the Trump administration's demands, including an audit to ensure the viewpoint diversity of its students and faculty and an end to diversity, equity and inclusion programs, were unprecedented assertions of power unmoved from the law that violated constitutional free speech and the Civil Rights Act. And within hours, the Joint Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism said it was freezing more than $2 billion in contracts and grants to Harvard. Bureau Report, India Today.
And I'm being joined by Rajdeep Sardesai, our consulting editor, who is at Harvard as we speak. He's there for a different reason altogether. Rajdeep, thank you so much for joining us. You're there for a conference to deliver lectures, but this is an interesting time that you're there. Has the conference or the meetings that you're going to be attending been overshadowed by the news of this war between Harvard University and Trump administration?
Thank you very much, Geeta. Look, this is a huge university campus. There are lots of activities across lots of institutes that go on here in Harvard. But yes, there is a talking point, certainly, of what the Trump administration is trying to do to Harvard in a way to defang Harvard or defund Harvard. The latest news coming in that the Trump administration now wants a record of all the foreign students who are here at Harvard and has even threatened that in the future they could cancel visas for foreign student admissions. So clearly the Trump administration is upping the ante. But Harvard believes that it is on strong legal footing, that the laws of the United States, particularly the First Amendment, when it comes to freedom of speech, also protects academic freedom and will prevent, beyond the point, the Trump administration from interfering in Harvard's decisions on hiring or admission policies. Yes, the Trump administration, Geeta, can possibly attempt to withdraw some of the federal grants that it gives Harvard, and it's already said it's doing so, more than $2.7 million worth of grants. But beyond that, can the Trump administration actively decide Harvard's policies? Harvard is ready, the university is ready through legal help to take the Trump administration, if necessary, to court. So this will be interesting to see to what extent can Trump go in taking on the Ivy League universities. He seems determined to do so, but equally one senses a determination on the part of Harvard this time to hold on to its space and its ground.
Well, talking about the extent that Trump administration is willing to go, Rajdeep, Homeland Secretary has come out and said that they're going to disallow visas to students applying for Harvard. Now, this brings me to the question of, this is that time of the year, Rajdeep, when all your mailboxes are filled with admissions that have come in. There are Indian students who we know have gotten through Harvard University. Things look quite difficult for them, and they might be really worried about not being able to attend the next semester.
Well, you know, obviously, given what the Trump administration has said, there will be concern, but I still believe that the legal stand, the legal footing that Harvard and other Ivy League universities stand on is pretty strong. The Trump administration will have to give very cogent reasons as to why they're denying visas to students. Look, over the years, thousands of students from not just India but across the world come to universities like Harvard. Is the Trump administration willing to risk the opprobrium and the criticism that will follow from, as I said, friendly countries? Is it willing to risk the fact that there will be those who will be concerned about research grants being cut? It's one thing for the Trump administration to battle the Ivy League college administrations, but are you going to take it out on the students? As you said, many of them have already got their admissions. They've gone through a pretty grueling process to get into these top schools. So while there is concern, I think many people, particularly the academics I speak to, are hopeful that this will be settled before the new term begins, which will be in August. So there is a 3-month period within which many of these matters should hopefully be resolved.
Right. Right, Rajdeep, thank you so much for joining us. You have a very important lecture, so best of luck and best wishes for that. Now, Harvard University has found support among other peer schools. In a statement on Tuesday, the acting president of Columbia University said, and I quote, "Though we seek to continue constructive dialogue with the government, we would reject any agreement that would require us to relinquish our independence and autonomy as an educational institution." This comes after Columbia agreed to several demands from the administration last month after the White House pulled $400 million of research grants and other funding from the school over its handling of the protests against the war in Gaza. President of Stanford University, Jonathan Levin, and the school's provost, Jenny Martinez, also released a statement in response to Harvard's decision, praising the university. They said, and I quote, "Universities need to address legitimate criticisms with humility and openness. But the way to bring about constructive change is not by destroying the nation's capacity for scientific research or through the government taking command of a private institution." Christopher Eisgruber, the president of Princeton University, also weighed in. And I quote him here, says, "Princeton stands with Harvard." He wrote, "I encourage everyone to read President Alan Garber's powerful letter in full." And to discuss a little more on what this could mean for international students, particularly students from India, Dr. Karan Gupta, an educationist and alumnus of Harvard himself, joins me. Dr. Gupta, thank you so much for joining me. Let's just begin with the do's and don'ts. Many students must be reaching out to you to understand what should they do, what shouldn't they do to ensure that their visas aren't rejected. What are the key things that you think should be in their minds when they are looking at or seeking visas for the United States of America?
Thank you, Geeta. So the first thing I would say, and very important to remember, I'm an education counselor. I've advised students to study abroad, career counseling for over 2 decades. But I can confidently say this, that this is not a time for fear. It's a time for focus. Students must remember that they're going to Harvard or any university abroad to earn a world-class education, not to participate in politics. So follow the laws of the country, respect the systems, take clear of activism. Keep your documentation perfect and communication clear with a grounded mindset. Because the goal of the student is to study, grow, and thrive. That's where the energy should be. So for me, this is number one. And whether they're thinking about the visa, whether they're thinking about the admission is going to stand, is Harvard going to continue to take foreign students, all those are secondary things. This is the first thing that students should take care of.
Okay, then how many students are actually approaching you with worries and want counseling from you? Are they talking about whether they should continue the way they would be able to in the United States of America, or there could be disruptions in their visas being revoked? What are the main concerns that they're really bringing to you?
Yes. So I would say in the last couple of months, we've got more and more inquiries from parents about, is the United States safe for us? Our students are getting deported for minor violations. This is something that we should worry. And once again, when students are going to top universities, their focus is to study. I tell them, follow the law of the land, stay clear of any kind of activism, stay clear of protests, keep your social media accounts clean. So when they focus on that, they don't get into trouble. And that's exactly what I tell the parents, that you have nothing to worry about if your child is going to study.
Well, you did mention parents, but the concerns are very different when it comes to students and when it comes to parents. So, Dr. Gupta, when it comes to parents, what are the specific concerns that they are really coming to you with? How do parents view this situation?
So right now, the main and the first question is people who've got admission to universities for this fall. The first question is there going to be a problem in the visa? And my answer is that, once again, if you have your funding, if you're going to a good school, you're a genuine student, you're not going to have a problem. Harvard's case is a little different because Harvard is in the eye of the storm right now. And the issue here is that Harvard is not backing down, and neither is the current administration. So there may be a situation where a visa is hard to get for Harvard at this point. Maybe in the next few months that clears up. So one of the questions that parents are asking, yes, is about the visa. Another question they ask is about safety. And the third question they normally ask is that, is the US going to be welcoming for international students? And I tell them to look back at the first term of this administration. And the first term, again, they made sure that students who are genuinely studying at good universities, their purpose is to be in the US to make a career, to possibly learn diversity, be in a multicultural environment. Those students are well taken care of. So we expect that that same thing is going to translate in this administration, and students should be safe on campus.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta, for joining us. The next few weeks or months at least are going to be very difficult, and tough negotiations will take place between the US administration and the universities. Thank you so much. With that, shifting focus to another big story. It's a visit that's as symbolic as it is strategic. The US Vice President is heading to India with his entire family, and this trip isn't just about diplomacy, it's also deeply personal. Take a look at our next report as we look at the second family's itinerary.
The second most powerful man in Washington is heading to India, and he's bringing the whole family along. US Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Usha Vance, the first Indian-American second lady, and their children will begin a 4-day visit to India on April 21st. The Vances will land in New Delhi, starting with a visit to the iconic Red Fort. J.D. Vance will meet National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, and BJP President J.P. Nadda. He's also scheduled for a key sit-down with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There will be a formal dinner hosted by the Prime Minister for the entire second family. On April 22nd, the Vances head to Jaipur to take in the Pink City's historic charm, followed by a stop in Agra to visit the Taj Mahal. But behind the heritage and sightseeing lies serious business. J.D. Vance arrives amid rising global economic tensions and Trump's aggressive tariff policies. Trade talks are expected to be the top agenda, especially efforts to push forward the long-delayed India-US Trade Pact covering tariffs, supply chains and market access. Vance's team says the visit is about aligning economic goals and boosting strategic cooperation. This is J.D. Vance's first official trip to India, and it is deeply personal, making this visit part diplomacy, part homecoming. US Second Lady Usha Vance has roots in Vedluru, a small village in Andhra Pradesh. They want to introduce their children to India during the visit. Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Well, that's all in this edition of World Today. But before we go, we leave you with this hot mic moment for Donald Trump. After taking on the illegals and the migrants, he's now looking at his own. It was a startling moment when President Trump was caught on a hot mic telling El Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, the homegrowns are next. The homegrowns, you got to build about 5 more places. It's not big enough. The video was posted by Atlantic's Jonathan Lemaire. Lemaire interpreted as homegrown US prisoners to be sent next to El Salvador. Here's the video.
Homegrown criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrowns are next. The homegrowns built. You got to build about 5 more places.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. It's not big enough.